The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Maisa, you want to know the power of Lashon Naki and the power of creating a home where the basic training is proper speech? I had once spoken about this topic a number of years ago, and afterwards a young couple from Eretz Yisrael came over to me and they told me a story that was so extremely powerful and moving, except I really felt that the story they were telling me was about themselves. And when I pressed them, I didn't mean to, but when I asked them again, they said, yes, it happened with us. I called my family over to hear it firsthand. Such an incredible Maisa. This family lived in a place in Eretz Yisrael. They had gone away for a vacation. And when they came back from the few-day vacation, in their minivan, some people, when they pack for a vacation, they pack like in a large suitcase, and others, it's a minute you go with 5,700 pekloch, little bags. Now, 5,700 might be an exaggeration, but you know what the back of the minivan could look like with pekloch and little and carry-ons and pekloch and bags and bags and bags. That's an enjoyable vacation. So when they came back from the vacation, the plan was, since it was almost mincha time, the husband was going to stay outside and unload the van. He created a beautiful and delicious assembly line with his children, that they would pass it from child to child, and the mother would be in the house, and she would take it. And then he told his wife at that point that instead of coming in because it was late for mincha, he was going to finish the assembly line and go straight to mincha. Remember, this is a family that was so makbid on Lashon Naki. Lashon Naki is not only making sure that the neged tzeiras is not in the home. Lashon Naki is not only making sure that Lashon Hara and Rechilus and Motzi Shemra and Einos Dvarim, verbal abuse, is not allowed in a home. You don't allow it by food, you don't allow it by people. Lashon Naki is a fulfillment of Bein Ubas. Lashon Naki is a fulfillment of Umleisi Mei Tahara. Lashon Naki is a fulfillment of Mikol Asher Amarti Al Isha Tishamar, you better be the real deal. And that's the way this family was. So there they are unloading. And at one point, one of the young children comes back out and says to the father, Abba, Ima says that you're working like a dog. So he stopped what he was doing. He turned white. He said, Ima said that I'm working like a dog? Ima said that? But even though by some that might be a way to speak, we don't speak that way. Ima said that? Something has to be wrong. He quickly ran into the house and he told me, his wife standing by the kitchen counter. One hand, she was supporting herself by the counter, and the other, she had a glass bottle of water. And he saw she was already turning blue. And at that point, staring, she just dropped the glass bottle of water, and he realized right away that it was mamish, a life and death emergency. He called the equivalent of the Hatzalah of the 911. I am forgetting, and I apologize, the exact medical term. Something in the brain, I don't remember if it was an aneurysm or exactly what had happened. Immediately, they rushed her to the hospital. They started an operation. A little while later, they came out and they told the husband, had you brought your wife, or had she come 20 minutes later, she wouldn't be alive. You saved her life. And he looked at me with tears and he said, I wasn't planning on going into the house. I was leaving to mincha. The only reason I went into the house was because my child said and my wife said, Abba's working like a dog, so I knew that that's not normal. Something must be wrong, and that's why I went in. And she turned to me. She was mamish crying. She said, Ephraim Shapiro, please tell people, Lashon Naki saves lives. Lashon Naki saves lives. Maisa shahaya kachaya. Parenthetically, my wife was there. My wife turned to her and said, you must be, my wife tells this lady, an incredible person. Because even when your brain wasn't functioning, in other words, the point obviously was that what made her say, my husband, Abba's working like a dog? Because since unfortunately something was going on in the brain with the blood and aneurysm, I'm forgetting the exact what it was. Her brain, the blood, nothing was functioning properly, so she said something that normally she wasn't in control. She said something that she normally wouldn't have said. That's obviously why he ran in, and the rest we know. My wife turned to her and said, you must be an amazing person, because even when your brain wasn't functioning, the worst thing that you said was, Abba's working like a dog. A lot of times when a person's not thinking and they're not in control, or they're angry or whatever it might be, they say far, far, far worse. Far more devastating, damaging, and irreparable. A credit to the woman that even when she wasn't well and her brain wasn't functioning properly, that the comment was, Abba is working like a dog. And that is why he ran in. He knew something was wrong, and she begged me, please tell people Lashon Naki saves lives.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org